Tomorrow, I intend on filing impeachment resolution on Joe Biden for bribery, for extortion, obstruction of justice, fraud, financial involvement in drugs and prostitution. All of these things, you just touched on the highlights of some of those, but we have all the facts and evidence now.
Geez, that started off fast and it sped up till the end. Prostitution too, huh? Okay, wow, boy, you got him on everything. And the most fascinating thing is I feel like I follow the news a lot, and I don't think I've seen any evidence of even the lighter of those, let alone the worst ones. But anyway, Greg Stube rarely has a person's name fit who they are better than Stube.
I think I read it in text from that guy.
Maybe. He's joining with Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Greene to impeach Biden. And with that trio in charge, you know two things. One, it's totally merited, and two, it's totally gonna work. So anyway, he's making bold claims. They must have the evidence for it, right? They must demand the evidence for it, right? Well, as quickly became clear across a couple of different conservative media appearances over the last week, that's just not the case. Let's start with Kayleigh McEnany.
We're listening to is what we call the raising of the bar defense. So Jessica, you said it's no big deal, the Devon Archer testimony. Well, okay, Biden has repeatedly said since the campaign trail, I never spoke to my son about his business dealings. Well, we learned from Devon Archer, he spoke to him 20 times. He was on speakerphone, he attended meetings that the White House told us he was never present at, the 2015 meeting at Cafe Milano. So when you say it's not a big deal, you're saying it's not a big deal that the president of the United States lies. Then you say, okay, no crime was committed here. Again, you're raising the bar. A crime doesn't have to be committed here. The whole point is that this is corruption. The American people see this and say, this stinks.
So I often get down on humanity because I feel like often, around like 16, 20, 24, we stop trying to develop as people. But I do like to see that Kayleigh McEnany can all of a sudden have an issue with a president lying or corruption. That's good. Good to have her on our side. First of all, the idea that you don't need any crimes, I'm not a lawyer. I feel like high crimes and misdemeanors pops up at least once in the description of the whole impeachment thing. Like the fact that you think that he lied, that does not merit impeachment on its own. So this is even, like I undersold this, Brett. We're gonna get to people who are like, nah, we don't really need evidence of the crimes. She's saying we don't need the crimes. What do you think?
I love that. If that's the case, then great. You can impeach every president who's ever been president because you don't like them. They're just sore that Donald Trump asked for personal political favors and as leverage threatened to withhold aid to a foreign government, doing real America stuff. He held over the head of somebody that he just wanted personal little petty stuff for him. And so that seems like a real crime. What Joe Biden has is like a crappy kid. And that's like the thing that most Americans with kids can identify with is they had a kid who's like, come on, daddy, please, can I have the money, please, thank you. And he has to deal with that. Yeah. So it's obvious, she already tipped her hand. All these folks that were already like, working for Trump and the folks on MSNBC who were working for Biden and George W. Bush, they already told us whose side they're on. Why are we looking to them for like dispassionate political analysis?
Yeah, 100%. I have a thought related to what you just said. I want to play just our next video and then we'll get into it. Let's do this.
There's a lot of talk, Dana, about like, did Joe Biden do something affirmative for, say Burisma? Like, was his using of his influence to get the prosecutor who was looking into Burisma fired, was that as a result of the payments that the Burisma people were making into the Bidens? That's all very interesting and it ought to be investigated to the ground. But the nature of the business here was Biden's political influence and the idea that it was a commodity that you could have access to, not that he necessarily had to do anything affirmative, but merely by having access to and connection to the very powerful guy.
That is just so amazing. So first of all, again, the person was not looking at Burisma. Why am I fact checking this? Like, they fired him because he wasn't. What's the point? We've known this for literally years. It's irrelevant. They're literally never going to admit that that is the case, but whatever. So he said, it isn't that Biden did anything. It's just that he has power, and in theory, someone could have access to that. We're not saying that anyone did, because we can't prove that anything happened. But in theory, if someone had power and a family member, then you probably got to impeach him. And again, to Brett's point, okay, that's true, literally everyone. Donald Trump, Jared Kushner was working on the business side and in the White House at the same time. He's got 2 sons still actively involved in business and campaigning with him. This is what Brett said. Hunter Biden probably did want to use the fact that he was a Biden to do this. And you know what came of it? The worst that came of it, that we have actually seen evidence of, is that he like shoved a phone against Joe's ear and said, "Hey, talk to this guy." And Joe was probably like, okay, like you're trying to get your life together. I'll say hi to this guy, and that's literally it. I'm not doing anything. We're not talking about anything. Like, that is what is actually going on. And they want to take out a presidency based on that and ignore all of the Trump stuff that is obviously far worse and more corrupt.
This is all evidence of how starved Fox News viewers are for just getting Biden.
Yep.
A lot of things. The main one to me is like, they used to have on Fox News, they used to have like cartoon Supermen on there to be like, they used to have Hannity be the alpha dog and Combs be like, I don't know, I think this is pretty bad, I'm a liberal. And now they have that guy on to like Andy McCarthy to just stick it to Biden. And that guy's just like a wet clump of toilet paper. Like, even their guys that they bring in to give the devastating arguments are just so gross and not strong. The only solution to this, there's 2 solutions to their logic. If their logic holds, there's 2 solutions to their problem. One, no one should have any power. You ask a Republican,
I agree.
In federal office, they'll say, yeah, my job is, I hope not to have to do anything ever. So that holds true. The other one is a modest proposal I have, that we kill the families of all people with power. It's their argument, it's their logic, it holds true. Joe Biden, dark humor, halfway there anyway. Most of his family was killed in a car crash. So, I mean, the ones that survived, brain cancer, and then almost died from a drug overdose. So Joe Biden's doing his part to eliminate his family. Why doesn't he get any credit for that? Meanwhile, you got like 20 Trump kids, 9 of which Trump remembers the name of, only 1 of which is an angel, Ivanka, call me. And Tiffany, she's a great singer. I mean, that's really the only things that I can think of to try to solve this problem we call American politics.
They're bold strategies. I don't know if we're gonna pursue them. By the way, all the people in those clips who are like do they support politicians being banned from trading individual stocks? No, obviously they don't care about any of this. They don't care about literally any of this. Yeah, many of their viewers might, but they do not.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.